Today I'm going to be talking about
What's going on in our faith?
I'm going to talk a little bit about the background, the making of the song, my thoughts on the song and the lyrics, and finally, I'm going to attempt to answer what is going on. What's Up was the second single from the Four Non Blondes' 1992 album, Bigger, Better, Faster, More. It was written before the band was even formed, when Linda Perry was living in San Francisco and was a waitress and a struggling musician hanging out with Third Eye Blind frontman Stephen Jenkins, playing each other's songs that would later become massive hits. The group was originally all-female, with Linda Perry on vocals, Krista Hillhouse on bass, Shauna Hall on guitar, and Wanda Day on drums. Early on, Hall and Day were replaced by Roger Rocha on guitar and Don Richardson on drums. You can see him in the video, and they're both credited with actually being on the recording of this song, but it appears that some of the credits for that and other things on the song aren't correct. I did a little investigation, and I found the Four Non Blondes website, which has their whole history laid out from the formation, the record deal, the success, and them breaking up. And if you ever want to read about what your typical band goes through when they get a record deal and have a hit song, go check this out. Apparently, it would seem that the person who actually played guitar on the record, and I found this here on the website, is Louis Meteor, who is a well-known and successful guitar player who has played with a lot of huge stars. They asked him to join the band, and he declined. That's when they went and found Roger. They started recording the album in November 1991 with David Tickle producing. The basic tracks were done at Groove Masters in Santa Monica, with the overdubs and mixing done at David's home studio, The Bunker, which strangely enough is the name of my studio here. Now, Linda was not very happy with the way the record was coming out. She felt like it was too polished and clean and not really genuine for what she was, but she was told, go along with it, which is, what you're usually told when you're a young band in the studio with an established producer. But at the end of making the record, she just absolutely hated the way What's Up had come out. David had made them change some of the lyrics and do some other things that was just really unnatural for them. So, 2 days before the record was supposed to be mastered, she took the original demo to the head of their record label, Jimmy Iovine, and played it for him, and he agreed. It was a better version of the song. So he said, all right, you can redo the song, but you got 2 days, and you got to pay for it yourself. So they got a favor from the record plant in Sausalito and headed down there to record it. According to Linda, they went into that studio without their producer, David, and just had the house engineer help them get the sound that she wanted, even helping her learn how to turn the knobs and get her hands on the gear for the first time. Now, it wasn't until later in the evening, when the song was pretty much done, that David showed up, which apparently Linda was not very happy about, but what are you going to do? So anyway, she basically produced the song, and it was mixed that night, mastered in the morning, and made it onto the album. Later, she went and asked for a production credit for the song, and of course, she was turned down. You'd be surprised by how many songs were credited to producers who weren't even in the studio when the song was recorded. In a Mix Online article, she said, right there and then, I knew exactly what I was going to be in for. Everything from then on out, I better know what I was doing because this was never going to happen again. This would be the catalyst for what would happen in her future. But first, back to the song. This was actually their second single from the album, the first one being Mr. President, which many thought was political and attacking George Bush.
And the people all over doing crack. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's such a wonderful country.
No, that's not political at all. Now, when it came to What's Up, the label was unsure how to market the song or even which radio stations to push it on. But as soon as it got any airplay anywhere, those radio stations would get a lot of listener call-ins. And it soon became one of the most requested songs in America and ended up peaking at number 14 on the Billboard charts. It was number 1 in Austria, Argentina, Belgium, Denmark, Germany, Guatemala, Iceland, Ireland, Mexico, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, South America, Sweden, and Switzerland. The album spent 59 weeks on the Billboard 200 charts and sold 1.5 million copies. The music video was directed by Morgan Lawley and was also nominated for Best Alternative Rock Video at the MTV Music Video Awards. The song had a huge impact and was critically acclaimed, but it also had its haters, with several prominent artists calling it the worst song ever or the worst song of the 90s. Well, here's my take on it. First thing is, the song is called What's Up, but she never actually says that in the song. The second thing is her look. There's been some speculation that they had a stylist for the video shoot, but as it turns out, Linda just couldn't decide what to wear for the video shoot, so she just put her robe on over her pajamas, pulled on her boots, put on her hat, and headed over to the video shoot. Apparently, that's how these people really dress. And what's with this guitar? I mean, that's so cool. The other thing is the sound of the recording. It's very basic. I mean, it just sounds like somebody strumming a guitar. It's like just a band. You hear the acoustic slightly pan to the right, the electric pan to the left, bass in the middle, drums, a single vocal. I've listened through this a couple times. I've not heard a whole lot of overdubs on this thing. Now, one of my favorite things about this song is the way she sings this next section. She switches from her falsetto to her full voice and sometimes that weird area in between. Check it out right here. It's the best thing about the song.
Into a crisis, times when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I am feeling a little peculiar.
It's actually really hard technique to do, but she kills it here.
So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high.
And then she punches it here.
Scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on?
Yeah, powerful.
And I say,
She also knows how to open her mouth when she's singing. It's one of the main things I say to singers when I'm trying to get them to open up and get a sound and be full. Just open your mouth. And she does it. It's part of what I think is what makes her sound. She also looks a little crazy, which is kind of cool. Now this is an interesting part right here. This next section going into the second verse kind of comes down. Normally, by today's standard, you go into your second verse right there. They just kind of took their time about that. But hey, it works, man.
And I try.
You hear her voice cracks?
Oh my God, do I try?
God, it just sounds so real.
Try all the time.
Cracking and full. She shoots past some of the notes, kind of swoops up and past them, but it's just got feel to it.
And I pray. Oh my God, do I pray?
Oh,
I pray every single day
yeah.
for revolution.
Love that sound.
Into a crisis, times when I'm lying in bed just to
And just her voice, there's so much expression and all these little parts. Every time she sings each section, it sounds a little bit different and more emotional and kind of pushing this edge in her voice.
I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey,
Of course, I hate the snare drum sound on this song. God, it was the 90s. That's just not my kind of snare drum sound, but whatever, man. I still love the song. I always thought there was something interesting about her vibe during this song, and now I'm thinking maybe it's because she finally got her way with the way the song came out. Good for her. Now check this out. Right here, they come into this refrain. Hear that in the background? It's the first time in the whole song there's any background vocals. There's no harmonies anywhere in the song, and there's this little thing. That's it. It never really occurred to me till I started really examining the song. She carries this whole song all the way through with one vocal. No harmonies, no doubling, nothing. No auto-tune. She's just in there singing this stuff. And here's another cool part of the song. Check this out. This little outro part. She switches from a straight eighth note to a dotted eighth note swing type thing.
25 years and my life is
Totally
still
different feel.
trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination.
I love this. You know, there's some people that have said this song is a song about nothing, but I just think that's a bunch of bullcrap. I mean, take a look at the lyrics. Verse 1, she says, 25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I mean, come on. She's 25 years old. Who doesn't feel that way at 25 where you still got this hope and you have hope from your youth, but you're growing up and you're kind of looking at things. I mean, obviously. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man or whatever that means. Not a great rhyme scheme, but I know what she's talking about. And I think she's also referencing the fact that she's gay and the world is run by men, which is not always such a great thing. And in the pre-chorus, she says, and so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out, what's in my head. I relate to that. I mean, any artist has gone through that sort of thing. And I'm feeling a little peculiar. So I wake up in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? I mean, don't you wonder what the hell's going on in this world? The world is getting very crazy. I mean, it's definitely way crazier it was back then, but it's like modern society's a little bit screwed up. Anybody who's not wondering what's going on is, frankly, an idiot. In verse 2, she says, and I try, oh my God, do I try all the time in this institution. And I think she's saying like the world is like an insane asylum. And I pray, oh God, do I pray? I pray every single day for a revolution. I get that. Like the amount of conformity that we had back then compared to now it's definitely kind of messed up today, but way more back then. You couldn't really be out if you were gay. There's just so many things you couldn't be or say or do. And who hasn't felt like the world needs to evolve or there needs to be a revolution, socially speaking? I get it. I'm just thinking that maybe some people aren't comfortable with a band that has so many women in it or a strong woman questioning things and calling for revolution. Maybe that made them feel uncomfortable. But I just think the song's about frustration with the world and not quite sure what to do about it. And you have all this angst and emotion and you just can't do anything. It just spills out of you. That's what I get from this song. As the band was starting to record their next album, Linda Perry announced that she wanted to leave the band. I was going to talk about the pressure that bands go through when they get a record deal and have a big single, but I think I'm just going to read something that's on the Four Non Blondes website right here. A lot of musicians think that getting signed is the answer to their problems. In reality, it is one step in many, the beginning of a road that could land you somewhere less desirable than where you are standing. It can break up your band. It's some tricky shit, especially when you are broke, because you can't be distracted by the shiny things the record company people dangle in front of you. If you got nothing, you've got nothing to lose. But when you have something special, you have plenty to lose. And in the business of music, you can lose a lot more than money. You can lose your integrity. The music can lose its heart. A lousy A&R guy can fuck up your record. A bad producer can rip the soul right out of your song. Your heart and soul, and sweat and blood can sit on a shelf in some record company's storage closet for all eternity. There's also the pressure of the road and touring constantly, which they had been doing for a while. And I think that Linda, who has since said she was never really happy with the way the record sounded, I think it was just time for her to move on. And that's what she did. Linda Perry recorded a couple of solo albums during the 90s, but neither saw commercial success. However, in 2000, she was contacted by singer Pink, and her career as a writer-producer took off. Since then, she has successfully worked with many artists, including Christina Aguilera, Courtney Love, Britney Spears, Adele, Alicia Keys, and Dolly Parton. She was nominated for a Grammy for Producer of the Year in 2019, is in the Songwriting Hall of Fame, and owns her own kick-ass recording studio. Bassist Krista Hillhouse went to college while also playing in several bands. She's toured with Linda Perry for some of Linda's solo stuff and has continued to play with a wide range of artists. She's also a self-employed artist-designer who maintains the Four Non Blondes website, which you should check out. Dawn Richardson has continued to play drums and tour with multiple bands, including Grammy-winning singer-songwriter Tracy Chapman. She has 3 drum method books published by Melbay Publications and has appeared in feature articles in Modern Drummer and Drum magazines. Shauna Hall played guitar for George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic and eventually became an official band member in 2007. Shauna released a solo project, Electro Funkadelica, which features members of P-Funk. Roger Roca has his own band, Roger Roca and the Golden Hearts. He's put out recordings of his own music. Wanda Day played in the San Francisco rock band Malibu Barbie after leaving Four Non-Blondes. She eventually moved back to her home in Utah and died in 1997 as a result of complications from drug use. And the song lives on. It continues to get a lot of radio airplay, and the music video has amassed 1.4 billion views. And as to the question, what's going on? I can tell you this. I have no idea.